Hello there, welcome to Genesis Models. My name is Bobby Waldron, and in this video we're going to be having a step-by-step video build of Eduard's 1/48 scale Mig-21 SMT, and it's the Profi back edition. So we got some nice bits of photo etch and a little bit of resin, I do believe, in here. Now in this step-by-step video build, we're going to be building this, obviously this Mig-21 here, which you know, the surface detail on this is like the next generation. You know, the fit is absolutely gorgeous, and being Eduard, you know, as I say, you get that photo etch, and I think there's resin wheels or something in here, but then you get like loads and loads of markings. You know, you get 5 sets of markings, and they're all very kind of different as well. Also in this step-by-step video build, I mean, we're going to be, as I say, we're going to have resin cockpit with this, we're going to have a resin exhaust with this, so we're really going to kind of touch on resin here, and like photo etch for the whole resin and everything. We're also going to be doing a 4-stage camo as well, so I mean, you know, it can get a little bit complicated doing 4-stage, so I'm going to walk you through that. Also, I'm going to be going like intermediate, advanced with Resin, with this being a nice Russian jet. You know, these things got really riffy and dirty and everything, so I really want to go to town with some serious weathering for this nice Cold War jet. So what we're going to do now, we're going to get a kit, an inbox review that I did of this, I think it was like last year. Just in case you haven't seen it, I'm just going to throw it in there so you can see that, and then there's some aftermarket parts that I brought for this, which I'm going to then show after that, and then we're going to crack on with building. So let's get on with this video build. Hello there, welcome to Genesis Models. My name's Bobby Waldron and this is going to be an inbox review of Eduard's new Mig-21 PFM 1/48 scale, and it is a Provi Pack edition. Now this is a new kit release for September 2013 and it's a new tool as well. So let's get this on the bench and let's see what we actually get in here. Let's start off the inbox review by let's just have a look what's in the box without me going off and opening up any bags. Right, well, first off we've got this nice little separately bagged clear parts, and there's quite a few in there, and then we have what looks like to be, we've got 3 separately bagged sprues of grey plastic, and we have, it looks like we have about 3 sprues in one bag, 2 sprues in another, 2 sprues in another, so we've got a nice total there of 7 grey plastic sprues. So there's quite a bit of plastic going on with this kit. Got a nice glossy, nice kind of quality paper instruction manual from Eduard, which has also, I do believe, a lot of nice markings here for different paint schemes and lots of different countries actually, so we've got quite a bit of a variety of schemes we can paint. We also then have, it looks like we have 2 nice decal sheets going on here, which I would say these are your markings, and then we've also got would be your stencil sheet as well. And I do believe Eduard does like to use cartographer, cartographer, made by Cartographer, these decals, and we all know, should know by now, that if it says cartographer, they are virtually the best in the world, so we haven't got to worry. Nice bit of a photo etch, 2 bits of photo etch frets as well. We'll have a look at them closer, and some canopy masks as well. This is basically why it's the Provi Pack, is you get this bit of aftermarket parts actually with the kits. Let's open all this up and have a closer look. Let's start off by looking at our instructions. Now the instructions, we've got this nice glossy, well quality, good paper for the instructions in colour, which is also nice. As usual, we have this nice kind of introduction to the actual aircraft, just to give us a bit of background to it. And then as we go through the instructions, you'll notice that it is really nicely laid out. It's got colour in there, and what I do like is the way they let's bring you in as much as we can. I mean, for example, what we've got here is it shows you these kind of this blue lines of where the pieces actually get glued to, right? So you're not, say for example with C19 here, we've got this little raised area just in the middle of the piece, and it's showing that you're going to be gluing obviously C52 to the left hand side of this raised piece in the middle, rather than say maybe gluing it to the right hand side of that small piece in the middle. It just helps you indicate a lot better, whereas most manufacturers, they won't even do that. You'd have this potentially with no kind of blue lines and markings to kind of show you where it's exactly being glued. So I do like that, and as you go along in the instructions, you will have options showing you where all the photo etch goes, which it also does show you that you can do this without photo etch if you want as well. The engine section looks nice, like that's going to build into something nice as well, and it looks like you are nicely building up some sidewalls as well for your cockpit area. But apart from that, I mean, the instructions do look actually really nice and clear, which is kind of a surprise really, because to be honest with you, if you've ever done any kind of photo etch of Eduards, their instructions are never the best. I mean, they don't show you where to bend this and bend that, and it's quite surprising how actually really damn good these instructions are for their kits. So just going through the instructions, there's nothing really to kind of harp on about. We've got a nice ejector seat there that we can build by the looks of it, and that's just out of the box, which is a nice touch. It shows you where to put all your canopy masks as well, and you've got loads of weapons that you can build, and it also gives you a nice call out of showing you, you know, what weapons go where and what kind of configuration you can have there. So that's a nice little touch. Also got some nice call outs for where all your canopy mask goes, which it looks like it isn't just your canopy masks, but it's kind of giving you other little masks here and there to help with your spray work as well. So that's a really nice touch. And you've also got a lot of nice markings as well with this. We've got the Vietnamese People's Army Air Force, we've got a Czechoslovakian Air Force, we've also got a Soviet Union Air Force School, the Egyptian Air Force, and I do believe we've got a nice Polish Air Force one here where it's got a nice natural metal finish. And I mean, we've just got all our weapons and pylons nicely called out here, which also looks very nice, and all our stencils. So I mean, it really is actually, you know, a damn good instruction manual by the looks of it, so I'm quite chuffed with that. We then move on to the decals. Now the decals, I did say they were printed by a cartographer, but just bear with me. Looking at these decals, hopefully you can see these ones. It does say it is printed by cartographer, just down here, and they do look very nice and colourful, nicely in registry, and we never have to worry when it says cartographer on there. So I'm not going to harp on about that too much. However, the stencils, I did notice, do not say anything about printed by cartographer. In fact, they say made in the Czech Republic. So cartographer is always made in Italy because they're based in Italy. So I don't think these are printed by a cartographer, but they do look like they would be quite nice. The writing is very, very small, and almost readable. Okay, it may be slightly a little bit blurry, but I mean, you'd have to get a magnifying glass on that to tell if you can read it or not anyway. So but they do look good, although they're not printed by a cartographer from what I can tell. Moving along, canopy masks and everything, I've already kind of talked about them. They're always pretty good from Eduard, and you can't really see them because they're all just yellow, so not really going to show that much. Then we've got the photo etch. If I just have a look here, as you could see, it does look rather good. Maybe I could just get it out of the packet for you just to show you. This is the cool thing about the Provi packs, is that you get this stuff straight out of the box, which is really nice. Is where we get to actually get to have some nice internal, some cockpit photo etch there, which is really gonna bring that all nicely alive. And we've got our seat belts going on there, and then if we just get this out, there's just another little set of photo etch there. It's nothing major, it's just a nice bit of photo etch just to enhance a little bit here and there on the actual aircraft. So let's get down to the actual pieces that we get in here. Now, starting off nicely separately bagged, we've got our canopies. Now, looking at these canopies, they do look really nice and crisp, very, very shiny as well. I'm not seeing any real marks or any ejection kind of spidering, cobwebby kind of effects on this, so that's really good. But we do have like these, like just millions of these cockpit instrument spray panels, which is kind of weird. We've got like virtually about 5 on here, and there's about another 2 or 3 in the kit, which is kind of strange, but you know, more the merrier, I suppose. I mean, if we don't use them, we don't use them. It's not going to harm anything. But they do look very good, our canopies there. Now, going through our first sprue, nice big sprues. As I said, there was about 7 of them. First impressions we've got on here, we've got lots of little tiny pieces, and looking at it, I'm not seeing any major flash going on here, right? In fact, I'm not really seeing any flash, which is the way it should be, really, because I mean, this is a brand new tool, right? So there shouldn't be any flash. It's looking very, very crisp, and the ejector pin marks are all really nicely either not to be seen or in places in which we're not going to be really too fussed about it. Just going back here to our little nose cone here, this has clearly been bent. It is supposed to be in that position when it come out the mold, but someone has come along for packaging and bent that down. Bent it down quite nicely. Now where our little pins are here, where it kind of holds it onto the sprue, I don't think, if it does damage it, it's going to be a big problem, because I think it goes into the kit and that is completely covered anyway, so I don't think you need to worry about that. We've got our exhaust just here, and that does look quite nicely detailed, pretty not bad for out the box as well. We've got a nice bit of detail here with our ejector seat, which has got some of these nice kind of diamond shapes on there. Nice wash goes in there, and that's going to look really nice as well. So just moving along, another kind of sprue as well, with lots of kind of sort of medium pieces in here, which does look also exactly the same really as the last one. Nice crisp, no flash. Ejector pin marks not in the wrong places, no real sink marks going on. We can really sort of rush through that bit there, it's not a big deal. Now we come to like the main structure of the aircraft, and what we've got here, we've got our fuselage section, and I'll just bring you right in on this one. Right, hopefully as you can see, we've got this nice surface detail going on. You know, the recessed panel lines are really nice and crisp, and not only that, normally when you have this kind of 90-degree angle where it goes over, right, we normally kind of have our recesses and rivets, they start to fade as you go over that angle, and that's a common thing with most kits. But what we have here with this one is, hopefully you can see, is it doesn't fade, it goes all the way over, and that is a nice little touch to that. And that surface detail is looking, I would say, next generation style surface detail. When I say next generation, I'm talking, you know, Eduard's new Spitfire 148 scale, Tamiya's 132nd scale Spitfire, Mustang, Corsair, that kind of surface detail. So that is looking very impressive. We come to our wings then. As you can see, ejector pin marks, they're all nicely just outside of where we're going to have our detail in the middle there, so they're just not getting in the way at all. We turn it over, the surface detail is, again, as I say, it is looking that really nice fine, lots of lovely fine kind of lovely, just lovely rivet detail going on there. Nice crisp recessed panel lines, and it's, you know, you've really got it going on a lot nicely just here with our wing section. I don't know if you can pick that up on camera, just lovely surface detail, absolutely loved that. And that's looking really good. Again, no issues or problems with that. Then we've got two sprues here which are identical, absolute copies, and these are all our weapons, and they just look really nice, no problems, no flash, nicely well detailed, and you know, got no complaints about that. And there's two of the same sprues there, so lots of nice weapons and fuel tanks for a nice variety of weapons. We've got our tail section here as well, which again, that surface detail is looking gorgeous. We've got all our little kind of weapons fins as well going on here, and then a load more other little bits and bobs and pieces. Nice little touch here with the actual instrument display panel, in which we have one with detail on. Right, so I suppose if you don't get the Provi pack, you can, you know, paint up with detail on it, but then we've also got another one that's all nicely flat, so we don't have to sand out detail. We can just glue the photo etch straight onto that, no problems. Same going on here, we've got one with detail on, one nice and flat. Throw the photo etch straight on there. Real nice touch there, and that is all the pieces. Actually, I think, oh, we've just got through all that. Now, what can I say? Well, this kit looks absolutely fantastic, I must say. It is looking like a nice next generation kind of surface detail. It looks so clear and looks so crisp. It looks like it's going to go together like a glove. It does cost £33.40, I do believe, RRP, which really, for a nice jet with the extras, the extra photo etch and masks and stuff, I mean, it seems like a really nice, decent price, not overpriced, not like, shall we say, a bargain, and for what you get, it really does look like a very nice kit. It looks like it's going to build together very nicely, so I'm definitely going to have to recommend this, and I'm loving what Eduard is doing at the moment, because they're just constant, they're bringing out some really top-notch kits, next generation kind of molding style sort of stuff. So I'm really excited about this kit, and I wouldn't mind doing it myself. So I hope you've enjoyed this inbox review, and hopefully you'll go out and buy this, because it is definitely well recommended. So there's the product review of the PFM that I did a while back, and what we're going to be doing for this step-by-step video build is going to be the Mig-21, the SMT version. Now, I don't really want to kind of do another inbox review here, because it is the same kit in here, but just to kind of quickly show you the main differences. And the differences is with this we get a nice bit of weapons in resin, comes with a kit, which is rather nice. And I do believe, you know, we've got decals. They're a little bit on the different side, but we'll look into that. Nice big massive stencil sheets here as well. That's going to be you know, quite tedious to get all them on, but really the main difference plastic wise with the kit is the spine of the fuselage just here and the tail, they're just a bit different, but apart from that, everything else is basically exactly the same. So that is the SMT, and that's what we're going to be doing in this step-by-step video build. But what we're also going to be doing, we're going to be whacking in a nice bit of aftermarket parts as well. We've got some nice Eduard exhausts as well, nice resin exhausts. They're going to look really nice in there as well. We've also got Eduard's cockpit as well. This should be rather nice as well, and I'm kind of interested actually to see how well it fits, because from my experience when it comes to resin cockpits, you've always got to do umpteen hours of just constantly sanding, test fit, sand, test fit, literally to the point where the sides are literally sanded down to like a hairline. So it'd be interesting to see how an Eduard kit fits with an Eduard resin cockpit, because I've never done that before. So hopefully, you know, we might have something nicely fit in there. I've also brought some of our Mig-21 SMT exterior photo etch. We're not going to use all this because you know, a bit of it is actually exhausts and that kind of thing, but really, I mean, we're going to have some nice landing gear bits and weapon bits and pylon bits to go on here, so you know, we'll use a bit of that. And then a nice Mig-21 pitot tubes as well. These should be rather nice. They're quite nice and cheap by Masters, so you know, they're like a really nice addition to this. So let's get cracking on, and the first thing we're probably going to start with is resin. So starting off this step-by-step video build with resin. Now we've got two lots of resin here. We have our exhaust and our cockpit. There is some weapons in here, but I don't think I'm going to be using those weapons. I'm not going to bother with them. But we want to start off with resin. We want to get the dirty, sort of hazardous work out the way first, because this stuff, resin, sand it, breathe it in, you know, it's really not good for you. So what I like to do is get it all cleaned up, chopped up and all that stuff, sanded down, you know, and get it all out the way, and we can put our face masks on, you know, afterwards we can get the hoover out and kind of hoover everything up and be all ready to carry on with the rest of the build. So what we want to do is, first off, we've got our instructions here, right? Have a nice little look through them, get an idea and a feel of how things are going to go together so you can plan ahead. But what we do have, I mean, it's not brilliant, but we do have pictures of all the pieces that you need. So for our cockpit here, we can see our cockpit and we can see the piece, and we can see that this kind of block here needs to be removed. So what we want to do, we want to go through all these pieces and simply get a nice red pen, and we just want to mark on everywhere where we need to remove and saw and sand off all our pieces, and we want to do that to all of them. So as you can see, all sorted out, all laid out, and we've marked them all nicely up with our red pen so we know what we're cutting. Now when it comes to cutting resin, as I say, you've got to be careful, get your face masks on. Now it's quite interesting actually with this particular cockpit set, is we actually have 3 options of how we do our main instrument display panel. Hopefully what you can see is we have 2 resin instrument display panels just here. Right, one of them is all resin. The bottom one is resin, but you drill out all your dials, so as you can go off and see our little black piece of photo etch. You can put that black piece of photo etch underneath with our dials drilled out, and we get that nice effect. Right, that's option 1. Option 2, as I say, is just all resin. As you can see the dials just in there. Option 3 is we can just go along and have it all photo etched by combining our black piece, what is that, 22, and then the top piece 21 on top. So that's quite nice to have that choice of how you personally want to go about it, but I think I'm going to probably go for all photo etch on that bit there. Then we come to, you know, cutting all this off. We've got a couple of different tools here. We've got a nice little micro saw here by CMK. Very nice saw. You know, we can buy multiple blades with you know, kind of ultra fine and different sizes for different cutting. Trumpeter does a nice one which is more of a saw. And then I've just kind of picked this up off eBay. It's, you know, just a nicer, bigger saw for bigger bits. For this, we can simply get our first piece here. As you can see, we've got our little red line just there, and I'm just using this this Tamiya tape, right, just so as I can use it as something just to hold it onto while I saw. So I'm just holding that on while I saw, and we just want to follow the line basically. Right, now in this case we're going to have a little bit left over to kind of tidy up, but it's better to saw off the majority of our resin than to you know, cut off pieces that we actually needed to leave on. So I'm just lightly sawing it. I'm not kind of digging into it and really going for it, because resin, you know, can be a little bit brittle, right, and break easily. So we just take it nice and slowly, and we just slowly cut it off like that. Right, so hopefully, as you can see, we've got that cut off. We are going to need to tidy it up a bit, as well as we've got this bit going on at the back. So what we can do, get ourselves a nice little sanding stick, and we've just got to sand this down so it becomes all nice and flush with the rest of the piece. Right, so this is probably going to take a bit of time to get it all sanded up, but actually this is what you need to watch out for. This is like the dangerous stuff. I mean, sawing, you know, you get like big pieces of resin, but when it comes to like sanding, you get this really fine resin being sanded off, and that's the stuff that if you breathe it in and you do it constantly, you know, it's not going to be good for your health, right? So we just need to sand this right down nice and flush. So that's all been nicely sanded flush at the back, and that piece, you know, is almost all good to go. We can also get our exhaust here. We just need to kind of nicely sand around this as well. Right, so we're following our red line and we're just giving it a nice bit of a saw, just like this. And what we want to do is, as we saw, you know, it is kind of nice and hollow inside there, so once you've sort of sawn down a bit, we can just slowly rotate as we go along. There we go, and keep on going all the way around. So there we go, all nicely sawn off. So we can come in with our bit of a sanding stick, and then we can just nicely tidy and sort of make all this nice and flush and tidy up all the sawing, just like that. Alright, and what we want to do, just to make sure it is all good, by looking at the instructions we can see that this, I do believe, goes onto here. And what you want to do is you just want to keep on sanding at it until it basically fits. So I'll do that a bit more off camera. And what we do have as well is we have these two pieces, which is going to be a problem to sort of saw up, because it's such a big block going on underneath here. There are two ways you could go about it. We can sort of get our lung saw here, because what we can't do with our little micro saw here is we can only saw down so far, because this bit of plastic here stops us from going down any further. And actually this saw is basically the same, we can only saw so far down. But with the trumpeter one we can just saw all the way through, because there's nothing at the top stopping it. So we can do that as one way of doing it, but this one here, it wants us to saw it all the way through, right? And then this is where you've got to sand it ever so slightly, so as all that detail in there you can kind of see through, which looks rather hard to do, and I don't know if you want to go that far down. Where's the instructions? I'll kind of show you what I mean. Hopefully, as you can see there, you sand down until you basically see through. I don't know how brittle that's going to be, so to be honest with you, it probably would just be best just to cut that off and not go that fine, because we're probably end up going to break in it, and we're probably not going to see that far through to actually appreciate that kind of work. So I think it's just too risky for something that I don't think you're going to really appreciate with that. So as I say, you could do that, or you can get out one of those sanding sort of Dremel things, and it just really blasts it. I might show you that a bit later. As you can see, very messy stuff. Now this back of our exhaust, I just want to show you how to get it like this. Hopefully, as you can just see in there, we've nicely sanded that away until we've got all that nicely coming through. Looks very nice, very kind of delicate and fragile and everything. I said I wasn't going to do it, but I think, you know what, I think I'll show you at least, and we'll see how we go. Now, just getting a sanding stick, what we're going to do is we're just going to nicely, flatly sand at it. We don't want to be using our sponge sanding sticks. Putting it on the desk allows us to nicely get it, you know, relatively level and flat. And what you should see is as you sand away, when you get kind of closer, let's bring you in a little bit more, as you get closer the sanding dust starts to come through onto this side, and if we get a little toothbrush we can just brush away at this, maybe both sides, and hopefully, as you can see, you know, we do start to get this kind of start coming through, but you've got to do it kind of nice and lightly. We want to sand a bit and sort of check it, because it really is such a, you know, a hairline that we're going to be leaving behind, that you know, we could just so easily sand too much. So just sand a bit and keep checking. Sand and check, sand and check. Right then, I think I've got this now, so I just want to brush away at this quite carefully, and hopefully we should have just nicely sanded that away. And there we go, hopefully you can see that side. Okay, we've got quite a bit of sanding dust going on here. Let me just kind of blow this off with the airbrush. There we go, that's a lot quicker and easier. So hopefully, as you can see, that has turned out rather well, and you know, I was thinking that this was going to be quite flimsy, but actually it's not that bad. Actually, that should be just fine. And then with this one going on top, you know, we really do get a nice bit of back of the exhaust there. That is rather nice. I would have thought photo etch would have been better, but actually you know, I don't mind that. You just got to really take your time, sand a bit, check it, sand a bit, check it, and just make sure you don't go over the top. So that is rather nice.